And I do have a presentation to share that Liz sent me.
Oh, for food?
Great.
Mhm.
Wonderful. From Greece. Okay, I think we have everybody in who, oh, and Harriet's joining us too.
Nikki, you can unmute yourself when you want to talk. You were just, I just put you on mute for the background noise at the moment. Well, Harriet's going to apparently have another round of, can she join or not?
That's too bad. So I guess we'll just have to get started. So welcome to our late afternoon here in the States fan chat, and we're going to be talking about Atlantean foods and what looks good to us and what tastes good and what we would like. And we also have, Nancy has from Liz, a little presentation too about some of the Atlantean foods that from GreaseCon, I believe. Do you want to start with that, Nancy?
Sure.
Okay. Can you just share screen or? You should be able to.
Okay, I fixed it. Now she can.
Just a minute here.
While we're waiting, does anybody have a favorite Atlantean food when they read the books? They just couldn't wait to try something like it? Or thought of some food that we have that sounded similar that they really like?
The fruit and pastry.
Nikki, I can hardly hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Better.
Barely.
Okay. The fruit and like a phyllo dough type thing with a drizzle of something on it.
Yeah.
I want that.
All the pies sound wonderful. The hand pies, basically. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Atlantean food.
I guess this is the way it is. Okay.
This is the way it is.
Yeah.
All right. In Greece, we had our own version of Eos pie. And this was taken at our high court dinner. There's the pie, and we decided that we needed ice cream. If you're going to have pie, you need ice cream. So we had pie and ice cream.
Oh yeah.
And here is several of us preparing the meal. We had a short crust pastry. Fruit of the season. We used nectarines, plums, and there was cinnamon, allspice, and sugar. This was
Vera making the dough.
Vera's making the dough. And here we got our piles of our nice, fresh, chopped up fruit. And here's Vera very diligently filling the pies and shaping them. And then they were baked in the oven. We also had vegetarian lasagna. Again, we had more folks doing lots of chopping vegetables. We were emulating Sunny. With mushrooms and tomatoes and zucchinis and red peppers, onion, garlic, basil, oregano, grated cheese, a bechamel or white sauce, and lasagna sheets. We had a spinach pie. I actually rolled out one of the layers of the pie. You had to roll it really thin. And we had a short crust pastry, and we filled it with spinach, onions, dill, parsley, salt, pepper, and feta cheese, and it was wonderful.
Oh yeah.
And here is a picture of Liz adding to the pie. And then we ate it at our high court dinner.
I thought maybe she'd have a picture of the table with the, but I guess not. Maybe
No,
with,
not this time, not for that one, but we had
Yeah.
we had the lasagna.
yeah.
We had our own versions of Shelley at our high court dinner if someone wanted it. We had other offerings as well, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic. We had the Eos pie with ice cream.
Wonderful dinner.
It was a very good dinner, and the lasagna was very good. Everything was good, and we made it ourselves.
Mhm.
So that made it fun.
Yeah.
So what types of foods does everyone here think they might want to try or they would like to see a recipe for?
And speaking of desserts, there was that ice cream like thing that you mentioned.
Mhm.
I think in the dinner with the Imperatrice at her first night or her second night, technically.
That was the family dinner, was it not?
No. I'd have to find it and survive, but yeah, or not in survive and win.
They have something called
When it was
ihama.
a nine. Yeah, there was some kind of it was a non-dairy.
Yeah, ihama is an airy frozen fruit delight similar to ice cream, but with an ephemeral texture of snow meringue and powdered sugar, placed on top of a paper-thin slice of melon-colored fruit. Where
No,
they
that was at
so
the
much
that
as
was
a
at the day meal.
What's that?
I thought that was at the day meal. Hang on, I'm gonna have to go into Win and look.
So this is in desserts and it's ihamar and it's like ice cream is what she says.
Yeah, that was at the family meal with when Charles, we found out that he is not affected by certain things. The desserts sound interesting. And we've certainly got enough different varieties of food. But was there anything that just kind of popped out at people?
I think the goo rolls that are sort of like sushi.
Yeah, I kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, I would like to try that.
But that's made with fish, but it's cooked fish as opposed to raw.
Well, we don't really know that.
No, it says
No,
so.
it does. It does say so, or at least at the
It says so in
the
the
meal.
companion. I have I'm cheating and looking at the companion.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and the thing that I was talking about that was at the day meal with Deborah and Asen, that actually isn't named. It doesn't have a name. It just says sweet cold dessert that is vaguely similar to honey ice cream, except it's non-dairy. But she doesn't actually name it.
And now that there was the grain stir fry,
Ladari, however you say it.
which I could, that there's all sorts of variations. It's almost like a fried rice.
Mhm.
And that seems like it's a possibility that we could try to make sometime.
I think
Uh,
the veggie, sweet,
That's
sour,
why.
savory noodles with greens sounds wonderful. It sounds to me kind of Thai or Vietnamese kind of noodles, I think. With a sweet sour kind of a sauce on them.
I would like Shedahur, or at least to try Shedahur.
yeah,
Drink, that's the alcoholic,
that's the
slightly
one
alcoholic drink.
that that the bride and groom were only allowed one
So, Carrie, I think Carrie can't get in.
Oh,
Well, I just let her in. Uh, I cannot, take out the waiting room. So,
and anybody can turn their own video on if you want. We love to see people when we can, and the chats are one of the places where we can all see each other. So happy to see hi here, Nikki. And yeah. So how many of you think you could actually, that it would be easy to switch over to an Atlantean diet? Like if you were one
No
of the
way.
kids.
Absolutely not.
I might be able to go vegetarian. I don't know if I could go completely vegan because I'm still trying to figure out if they had like cheese and things like that.
Oh gosh, cheese. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's the dairy that I really would have difficulty giving up. Meat
Mhm.
now, I'm also a very big meat eater. I have been, I mean, that's the way I was brought up. I mean, my folks were raised on farms, so
Yeah.
we had lots,
um,
we always had meat.
Yeah.
It would be but there are some meat substitutes. Like Beyond Meat is a very good brand. It's almost like the real thing, some of it's not. But
Yeah,
their sausages are really
I can't decide if it would be easier for me to try using these meat substitutes or just to simply go vegetarian. I don't know about vegan. I have a friend who's vegan and she seems to love the cheese substitutes and all the other substitutes, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm kind of picky about my cheese.
Yeah.
I mean, I will not eat generic macaroni and cheese. It
Yeah.
has to be Kraft or Velveeta. I can do the Cracker Barrel brand. But it has to be a name brand. I cannot, it just doesn't taste right. I mean, the noodles are okay. It's the cheese. I'm kind of um, and the same thing with, I mean, I would have, I mean, yeah, you could do margarine instead of butter, but I prefer butter. And butter is actually supposed to be better for you because
Butter is
margarine is,
definitely better for you. Margarine is terrible for
I
you.
never eat margarine. I
well,
don't even
margarine
buy it.
is liquefied plastic.
Yeah.
So
It's a seed oil, and more research is showing that seed oils are absolutely terrible for us.
but then on the same token, I love, nut butters.
Mhm.
In fact, I mean, I love it in the fall when they make fresh apple butter and peach butter.
Which would be something that they could do on
They would
Atlanta.
eat, yeah,
Yeah.
but the bread would be vegan and I like my bread.
But bread doesn't have any, well, bread can
Bread
be,
has eggs.
no, a lot of breads don't. Do they?
A lot of them
yeah,
do
no,
though.
plain
No, what?
Italian breads, baguettes, things like that. Those are just flour, water, and yeast, and a little
That's what I
salt, I think.
thought. Yeah, I didn't think they had, not all, yeah, not
Brio,
all.
however, brioches have eggs,
Yes,
and those are very
sweet
good.
breads have, yeah, sweet breads have egg, I think, but yeah. So I think you could do that. I think that would be very doable on Atlantis. How many of you would sneak down to Fishtown?
I do like fish.
I would be.
I would eat fish.
I would live in Fishtown.
And you could get Anu to show you all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, you would too. I like
All the
fish, but
clothes
it
you can-
cannot be fishy. I don't like fishy fish.
I don't like fishy smelling fish. No,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
do. I mean, I like my seafood.
yeah.
mhm.
My father was allergic to shellfish.
Oh, see, I
So
love shellfish.
Yeah, me
we
too.
could never have it in the house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because it got to the point where we couldn't even cook it in the house. I mean, he could smell it and would break out in hives and swell.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
so my mother and I loved it when it was deer season, turkey season, and Dad would be leaving and be gone for a week or 2 weeks so he could go hunting. And then we would go get shrimp and lobster and, whatever. And that was the only time we could have it.
Yeah.
And we were out last weekend. It was my cousin's birthday, and had his sister, my other cousin, had a bit, had a party for him out at this Italian restaurant. It was a huge dinner, all kinds of different appetizers and a pasta course, and then your main dish, whatever. And the pasta courses were penny vodka, homemade, I think, cavatappi with cauliflower. So like my husband doesn't eat most vegetables, so that was out. And then risotto, but he didn't hear them say risotto pescatore, which basically meant
Fish.
different kind of fish.
Yeah.
It was actually all shellfish, mussels,
Oh, nice.
mussels, calamari, shrimp. Yeah.
Wow.
And so he started to order that, and I was like, you want to make him tell you what's in it first, please? And he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm not eating that.
I don't care for mussels or calamari.
I love calamari. I'm not a huge fan of mussels, but I did have them, and these were pretty good.
I would eat them
I
if
love
they're
calamari, but everybody
yeah.
makes it very differently. And I've had some wonderful calamari and some absolutely horrible calamari.
Yeah,
Well, that's me too.
yeah, it's got to be light and not greasy.
Yeah. Not rubbery.
Yeah. The part that they make it from, I love the little ones where they look like little mini octopuses, where it's just like they're
With
only
the
about
tentacles, the
size
tentacle
of a
part?
50-cent piece, but they look.
Oops, she went on mute.
Well, that's not us, that's her.
Yeah.
I clicked the wrong thing. I meant to
Yeah,
click,
okay.
and I clicked mute instead. No, I love the little mini, they almost look like teeny tiny octopuses.
Well,
Ah.
In their calamari,
the
those are
tentacle,
so good because
the
they're very light and
tentacles.
they're crisp and they're always good. But I've
Yeah.
had some calamari that's made from just things that almost look like
The rings.
when you get
rubber
fried
bands.
cheese that's real thick and long and stuff, where it's a whole piece of the
Oh.
squid or
Oh, no, I've
octopus.
never
I
had
don't
that.
like those at all. Those are very rubbery and yucky.
Yeah, but the mashed jababat, if that's anything like potatoes, that'll make me very happy.
Yeah. I mean,
I want
I think I could eat their, I don't eat anywhere near as much egg, like beef and pork and chicken as I used to. I used to eat way more meat than I do now, but not having eggs and milk or cheese eggs would be very hard to live without.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe they have eggs, maybe they have chickens and they use the eggs because they're unfertilized, they're unfertilized, so they're just an egg. I don't know if they would consider that bad or not.
As long
So,
as you collect them humanely.
yeah, that's what I mean. If they had, chicken farms where the chickens just roamed free and they roosted and they just gathered their eggs, that would be
live their
fine.
lives. Yeah. The same
Yeah.
thing with dairy. It's the same thing with dairy. You're not killing an animal for the dairy. You're just harvesting.
You're just harvesting it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you let the animal live out its natural life, even though, even after they weren't producing like they had,
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
they say in the book though that even taking eggs or milk from an animal that's living, because it's an animal, that counted against what they're supposed to eat for when they were
Some
on
won't
Earth.
eat. Some won't eat honey either.
Yeah. Which to me just doesn't make a lot of sense. Just because the animal produces it doesn't make it bad to use it. Humans obviously have had to use everything in their environment as nourishment that was usable. And the fact that they started milking animals is rather interesting. That they didn't kill them, that they obviously at some point humans kept the animal and milked it. and used the milk and developed cheese and developed, yogurts and all kinds of things from that. And, yeah, I mean, that whole idea
Well,
of
and
farming
I will have to say
to
that,
hunting.
spending 2 weeks in Greece and having true Greek yogurt versus going to the grocery store and getting Greek yogurt is just not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Not the same at all.
You can make it. I just have never done it, but I know it's
It
not,
takes several days to make it.
yeah, but it's not hard, I don't think. You just have to have.
No, it's just time consuming because you
Yeah.
have to do something and then wait 6 hours and then you do the next and then you wait 6 hours. It's kind of like baking. I liken it to a little longer than baking bread from scratch. You bake you get your stuff together and then it has to sit so that it can rise and then you punch it down and you divide it into whatever you're going to make and then it has to sit and rise. So bread takes a long time, but the end result is very good. And give me a tub of butter and some hot bread. I'm good.
You're happy.
I'm very happy.
I never baked bread from scratch, but I did buy a bread maker and I used to love it. Because I could just throw all the ingredients in and walk away and come back and it would be done and I'd have a nice fresh loaf of bread.
Oh, yeah.
My grandma taught me how to make yeast rolls and bake bread. One of my great aunts taught me to make biscuits from scratch. I have an interesting story about Aunt Pearl. I was about 8 years old. And, she said, you're old enough. We had spent the night at her house. They lived on a farm. And she said, you're old enough. You can help me with breakfast. I said, okay. And so she wakes me up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my
It's still
God.
dark outside. Well, but see, it's a farm. It's a working farm. And she said, okay, I need you to get dressed. It's okay. And so, we start making breakfast and she made biscuits from scratch. And then we set the biscuits aside to, to rise. And she had a wood burning stove. And she says, okay, well, I need you to go get your coat and your shoes on. Okay. It's just because we need to go out. And I said, okay. It's just because we don't have any meat for breakfast. Oh, okay. So what are we gonna do? Well, we're gonna go hunting. Aunt Pearl, daddies do the hunting, not the ladies, the men do the hunting. Just no, we are responsible for the meat for breakfast. Therefore, we do the hunting. So I went hunting. She got her little 22 and we went hunting and we picked up 4 or 5 squirrels, brought them back, cleaned them, and cut them up. And that was the meat for breakfast. She showed me how to fry them up and that was the meat for breakfast. So that's, but then again, by the time we got back, the biscuits were, were risen. So she just popped them in the oven. So I kind of got this thing for fresh, hot bread with butter.
Oh.
Can make a meal out of it.
I would like to know what the chocolate substitute they used for the birthday cake for Gracie.
That would have been interesting. It tastes like chocolate, but it's not.
Do you think it was carob?
Could
They
have
said it was
been.
a cocoa-like plant.
It could be just a tree nut that was similar.
True.
Pod,
But then again, they brought, afterwards, they brought all sorts of seeds and stuff. So I'm sure some of those survived the transition. But they wouldn't have been ready by the time for Gracie's party. But yeah, chocolates would be good. Anything chocolate. I'm good for chocolate.
And carob, in my mind, is a very poor substitute for chocolate.
exactly. Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
Oh, yes.
I'm wondering
I-
if vanilla, because I would prefer, vanilla is actually a favorite of mine too. And that's such a good flavor,
Yeah, it is.
for
There's
things.
there's a lot of, you know, unique flavors. I mean, the raspberries, which are supposed to taste like space.
No,
And
that was just
during
a joke.
during the last trivia, I'm going, you know, okay, which was his favorite? And it's a good thing I was on mute, because I'm going raspberries because they taste like space. Ellen, I see you're home now.
Yeah, she's not in the grocery store parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I made it
Yes.
home.
Yay.
I was gonna
Oh,
say,
yeah.
so earlier today I was drinking out of my 2023 mug, and now I have my 2021 one because I'm now drinking Eos Pie tea.
Nice.
I put myself
Now, how
on
come you can't
video
just sit
mute
up here
because I
like
was
you did during the last
eating my
panel?
face, and I didn't think you guys wanted to watch me eat pot stickers. So yeah.
Mm,
See,
Well,
that's
that
the other
sounds
thing, the dumplings that they talk about.
yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the dumpling. I'm not a big dumpling person.
Oh, I love them.
Sure.
All depends on what
Because-
they are.
but I was raised on homemade ravioli, so.
Yeah, yeah. See, and for me, pastas, the stuffed ones just aren't, I just don't, I would never gravitate. I'll eat them if they're put in front of me.
You never have my mother's.
No,
those
I
are the
have
best.
not. I have not.
Those were the best.
I was gonna say, I know what you mean, Shelley. I don't mind ravioli because the stuff, you know, the size of it's small, but when you get into the bigger ones that are stuffed, they're so, to me, they're hard to eat because, you know, the stuffing wants to fall out, or you have to cut it up with, you know, and I'm just like,
When
it's
your idea of
wrong
a
kind of work.
ravioli is Chef Boyardee growing up,
Oh, no, no,
then
no,
you
no.
don't really know what a ravioli tastes like.
No,
Exactly.
well,
No,
and
this
see,
is
and here
homemade
in
dough
St.
and homemade filling.
Yeah.
well, and here in St. Louis, we take the fresh ravioli, and we put it in breadcrumbs, and then we fry it. So we have
Oh, yeah.
toasted ravioli.
That
Oh,
sounds good.
That's a St. Louis thing.
Yeah,
I've seen
that's-
that. I've seen that.
I don't need to have new snack foods like that put in front of me. 'Cause
Yeah.
I
All
ate
I'm gonna
enough-
say is lazy lasagna. You lay ravioli, sauce, and cheese, layer it up in a baking dish.
Uh-huh. But not Chef Boyardee ravioli.
Oh no, like we do
Salad
use like
Mano or-
store-bought ravioli, but
But
it just
still.
makes it really
Yeah.
super fast. A friend of mine introduced me
bet
to
that
that
would be
after I
good,
had one of my
yeah.
babies.
Yeah, easy.
No, ravioli and pierogies, because my we
Oh,
grew
don't-
up- when I was 2, my parents bought the house next door to my mother's sister and her family and her husband and family, and my aunt was Italian like my mother, but my uncle was Ukrainian. And his
Yeah.
mother lived with them, and she made every Wednesday, went to Catholic school, and at the time the Catholic schools closed at half day on Wednesdays for the CCD classes for the public schools.
Oh,
And
sure.
half days we'd go, if my mother, especially if my mother wasn't home, even if she was home, I'd go next door to my cousin's house, and his grandmother would make blintzes for us. And she also made pierogies, and I love pierogies.
Yum.
Don't
am
get
Carb
Vera
City.
started on that.
No, I think that's a little bit
That's
different. She
true.
makes something called pierogi, which is a different product.
Yeah, but similar, I think.
Yeah, pierogies are basically a
Well,
potato dumpling.
ladies, I hate to say this, but our food discussion needs to
Went
come to
over.
a close.
So how
Oh,
many
that's
want
okay,
to
'cause I
see
have to have
a
my dinner.
cookbook at some
Yep.
point?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Because I think eventually that will happen, but
It
so if you
probably
have
will
good
happen.
recipes, mostly vegetarian, maybe some seafood, definitely, kind of put them in a file or set them aside so that you remember, because I'm sure,
The
like
thing that Manala ends up picking at the restaurant, the galubo, layered galubo,
Oh,
kind of
that
reminds
sounds
me of
so
a
good.
cross between lasagna and moussaka.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that sounds good too.
If
Basically,
you do it sweet, it's like
I like
baklava.
many, many things, and it's very difficult for me to lose my appetite, which is very sad. All right, I'll see you guys in a little while then. It's time for me
Yeah,
to actually
so
go get
our
my
next
dinner.
session
Bye, everyone.
is Bridget Landry with another science session, I think.
Yep.
She's going to talk about Mars.
Yeah, and she'll be
Sweet.
talking about the Europa clipper mesh.
Europa.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye all.
Bye, everybody.
My
Bye.
technical difficulties.